The Indiana Fever just dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. After weeks of silence, cryptic updates, and growing frustration, head coach Stephanie White finally revealed what happened during Caitlin Clark's first 10 minutes back at practice. And trust me, what she said is sending shockwaves through the entire WNBA. But before we dive into this explosive revelation, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're about to hear could change everything for the Fever's playoff push. For 3 agonizing weeks, Fever fans have been left in the dark. Caitlin Clark, the league's most electrifying player, vanished from the court with a mysterious groin injury that just wouldn't heal. She flew to New York seeking answers from top specialists. She missed the All-Star game in her own city. She watched from the sidelines as her team fought without her. The silence from the organization was deafening. No timeline, no updates. Just radio silence that drove fans absolutely crazy. Then Monday happened. Scott Agnes dropped practice footage that changed everything. There she was, Caitlin Clark. Not in street clothes, not on crutches, but in full practice gear, moving with the team. The internet exploded. Was she back? Could she play? The speculation went into overdrive, but nobody was prepared for what Stephanie White would reveal about those crucial first 10 minutes. Sophie Cunningham, the Fever's newfound enforcer, had been holding down the fort. The woman they call Spicy Sophie transformed from role player to social media sensation overnight. Her Instagram following exploded past 1.2 million after she stood up for Clark against the Connecticut Sun. She embraced the target on their backs, telling reporters, "No one likes us. Everyone in our locker room, that's the only people we can lean on." The team rallied around this us against the world mentality, even winning the Commissioner's Cup without their superstar. But something shifted during Monday's practice. Sources inside the organization whispered about an intense closed-door session. Stephanie White, known for her calculated approach, watched Clark like a hawk during those first 10 minutes back on the court. What she saw would determine not just Clark's immediate future, but potentially the entire trajectory of the Fever's season. The tension in Gainbridge Fieldhouse was thick enough to cut with a knife. Players held their breath as Clark went through her paces. Every cut, every jump, every movement was scrutinized. The medical staff hovered nearby, clipboards in hand. This wasn't just another practice. This was the moment of truth. Remember, Clark had already suffered 3 separate injuries this season: a left quad strain in May, a groin issue that flared up again in July. The wear and tear of a brutal WNBA schedule combined with the physical targeting she faces every single game. White had been vocal about the officiating, even getting fined for her comments. She didn't mince words. There's a level of physicality that they're able to play with against her. It's a factor in her injury issues. The stakes couldn't be higher. Indiana sits in 6th place at 12-11, clinging to a playoff spot. They've shown they can compete without Clark, but championship aspirations? That's a different story. The Western Conference teams are circling like sharks. Every game matters, every possession counts, and here was their franchise player trying to prove she could handle the load after missing 11 games total this season. During those 10 minutes, something extraordinary happened. Clark wasn't just going through the motions. She was attacking drills with the same ferocity that made her a household name. The hesitation was gone. The tentativeness that plagued her earlier returns had vanished. This was vintage Caitlin Clark, and Stephanie White saw it immediately. But here's where it gets interesting. White had made it crystal clear. No minute restrictions. Clark herself had been adamant about this. Either she plays full throttle, or she doesn't play at all. It's a risky approach that goes against conventional injury management, but it speaks to Clark's competitive DNA. She'd rather sit out another game than play at 70%. The practice footage tells only part of the story. What cameras didn't capture was the private conversation between White and Clark afterward. Sources say it lasted nearly 20 minutes. White emerged with a slight smile, something rarely seen during this injury-plagued season. The coaching staff huddled immediately after, game plans were adjusted, rotations were tweaked. Something had clearly shifted. Kelsey Mitchell, the team's steady veteran presence, noticed the change too. She'd been carrying the scoring load, averaging over 20 points during Clark's absence, but she knew the team's ceiling was limited without their floor general. Mitchell's reaction to Clark's practice performance? Pure relief mixed with excitement. The band was getting back together. The timing couldn't be more perfect or more pressure-packed. The Fever face a gauntlet of games against top competition. The Liberty, the Aces, the Lynx, these aren't tune-up games. These are statement opportunities. And having Clark back, even at less than 100%, changes the entire dynamic. But White's revelation went beyond just Clark's physical readiness. She spoke about the mental aspect, the frustration of watching from the sidelines, the hunger that builds when you can't do what you love. Clark had been like a caged lion, pacing the sidelines, living and dying with every possession. That energy, that passion, was ready to explode. The financial implications are staggering too. Every Clark absence costs the league money. Ticket sales dip, TV ratings drop, merchandise sits on shelves. She's not just a player, she's an economic engine. Her return means sold-out arenas, primetime slots, and a spotlight that elevates everyone around her. The pressure to rush her back must have been immense, but White and the Fever organization held firm. Long-term health over short-term gains. Sophie Cunningham's emergence during this stretch deserves its own spotlight. From bit player to bodyguard, her transformation has been remarkable. She went from averaging single digits to dropping 15 points against the Aces. Her social media following exploded by over 500,000 in a matter of days. Brands are lining up for partnerships, all because she had her teammates back. It's a reminder that sometimes adversity creates unexpected heroes. The practice session continued beyond those initial 10 minutes, but those first moments told the story. Clark participated in 5-on-5 scrimmages. She ran the offense with her trademark vision. She pulled up for deep threes that had become her signature. Most importantly, she moved without hesitation, without fear. The psychological barrier had been broken. White's assistant coaches noticed something else. The team's energy shifted the moment Clark stepped on the court. Passes were crisper, cuts were harder, defense was more intense. It's the Clark effect. She makes everyone around her better just by being present. Even in practice, her impact is undeniable. But here's what Stephanie White revealed that truly shocked everyone. During those 10 minutes, Clark did something she hadn't done all season. She demanded the ball in isolation situations. She attacked contact instead of avoiding it. She played through minor bumps without looking to the bench. This wasn't just a player returning from injury, this was a player with something to prove. The medical staff gave their blessing, but with caveats: daily monitoring, extensive treatment, load management during practices. But game time? If Clark has her way, she's playing every minute that matters. It's a high-risk, high-reward approach that could define the Fever's season. As news of Clark's practice performance spread, ticket prices for upcoming games skyrocketed. The secondary market went crazy. Fans who had given up hope suddenly believed again. The energy around the team shifted from cautious optimism to genuine excitement. This is the Caitlin Clark effect in real time. White's handling of this situation deserves praise. She protected her star player from external pressure while keeping the team competitive. She managed egos, adjusted strategies, and kept everyone focused on the bigger picture. Now, with Clark's return imminent, her steady leadership pays dividends. The subplot involving the league's physical play against Clark adds another layer. White didn't back down from her criticism, even when threatened with fines. She called out the officiating, challenged the status quo, and protected her player publicly. That loyalty matters. It builds trust. It creates a culture where players will run through walls for their coach. Looking ahead, the Fever's schedule is both daunting and exciting. Every game becomes must-see TV with Clark back in the mix. The storylines write themselves. The revenge games against teams that played her physically. The measuring stick contests against championship contenders. The chess matches between elite coaches. It's appointment viewing for basketball fans. But perhaps the most intriguing development is the chemistry between Clark and Cunningham. Two different personalities, two different skill sets, but united by a common goal. Cunningham's willingness to be the enforcer allows Clark to focus on what she does best, making plays and breaking down defenses. It's a partnership born from adversity that could pay huge dividends. The 10-minute revelation from Stephanie White signals more than just Clark's return. It represents a turning point in the Fever's season, from uncertainty to clarity, from doubt to belief, from surviving to the pieces are falling into place at exactly the right time. As we wrap up this incredible story, remember that tomorrow's game against Chicago becomes must-watch basketball. Will Clark suit up? Will she play without restrictions? Will the Fever continue their momentum? The anticipation is killing us. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell because we'll have complete coverage of whatever happens next. This story is far from over. In fact, it might just be beginning. Drop a comment below with your predictions for Clark's return and how many points you think she'll score in her comeback game. Until next time, this is your source for all things WNBA. Peace out!